is an introduction to PatternGenius. It is a pattern and chart creating app from the fine people who brought us knitCompanion. PatternGenius is available in Apple iOS for your iPad as well as Mac OS for your MacBook. And as long as I have this MacBook out, I'm going to go ahead and let you know a little secret. If all goes well, next knitCompanion video in a few weeks is going to involve both knitCompanion and a MacBook. That's all I'm saying. So stay tuned for that. It's pretty exciting stuff. So PatternGenius, back to PatternGenius. It is available for iOS and Mac OS. And they're just like knitCompanion, it's available in two levels. It's available in the basics level, which has most of the features that you're going to use all the time. And then there's an all genius level, a subscription level that has a bunch more things for customizing what you're doing, just like knitCompanion. Funny how that works out, huh? And when we're, as of making this video, as of this video being released, we have 10 knitCompanion videos out. And our goal with knitCompanion videos has been to put out these 15-minute videos with just a little bit of information each time so that no one feels completely overwhelmed, because there is so much to that app, right? So many things you can do. And we've been putting out these videos, and there are people who are very happy with using their basic version to keep track of their pattern and where they are, and to interact with their patterns. And then there are the people who are using the more advanced features and customizing things and voice commands and all kinds of stuff. And then there are people who fall in between. And so while I'm putting out these videos, I'm noticing that people are getting more and more comfortable with the app, just like I am. The more we use it, the more comfortable we are. And the last couple of months, I've heard the questions, is there a way to design patterns in knitCompanion? Stacy, can you show us how to design patterns in knitCompanion? As soon as I started hearing those questions, I was like, they're ready for PatternGenius. Bring on PatternGenius. Let's show them. This is a really exciting app. And because it's from knitCompanion, they understand knitting. They know what we want. I mean, the things that you're going to look for are automatically going to be there. It's great. It's definitely going to change the way that I put things together. I explained the two different tiers, and in this video I'm going to be focused on the basic tier, aside from one feature of the All Genius tier, which I love very much and I'm going to marry, and so I should probably introduce you to it before we get married. But let's talk about pattern designing, kind of a big picture, because in All Genius you can design the whole pattern beginning to end and create a PDF. And that's kind of the goal when you're creating a pattern, is to have a PDF, because that's the standard format for knitting patterns. You can upload them to Ravelry, people can use them in knitCompanion. It's what we are after in a pattern. I personally use Google Drive when I create my patterns. It's a free way to get what I've created into PDF format, right? And I use Google Drive because I have my template for my patterns in there with my banner, my logo, and my sizing information and my copyright, everything's there. So when I'm using PatternGenius, I am likely to not create a PDF, but create an image of the chart and the key, and then use those images in the pattern that I've created on Google Drive. So I wanted to explain that to you, because depending on how you do things, how you want to do things, you have a couple of options. So I'm going to walk you through all of this. You're probably getting excited to take a look at the software anywhere, right? This is very, very important. If you would like to give PatternGenius a try, just go to the Apple App Store and search for PatternGenius. Give it a download, and then if you're enjoying it, there is a place right in the app to upgrade if you'd like to get All Genius. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at PatternGenius. When you first open PatternGenius, you see you are in a project and ready to go. We have an empty chart here ready to fill up with our stitches. And here on this carousel, you'll see that it says basic. Those are the basic stitches that we see here along the right side. And when you tap one of these stitches, you see the black box pops up there with the abbreviation for that stitch. So the first one's a knit, the dot is a purl, this V here is slip one. This V with a line is slip one with yarn in front. I think it's really handy because not all of them are immediately apparent to me what they are, and I'm can keep from messing up. So I'm going to tap on the purl, and to start putting purl stitches into my project, I just tap where I want them. See that? And if I want to speed things up a little bit, you see the hand is selected over here. I can tap the paintbrush and start painting stitches in by sliding my finger or a stylus along where I want them. Okay, so that's already pretty easy, right? I've got a lot of stitches in there. Let's take a look at what else we have up in this carousel. This is basic. I'm going to rotate over to increases, which changes the stitches available here along the right. And this first one is a yarn over, a circle. That's mostly what they mean in charts all over the place. So I'm going to paint some yarn overs in to my chart. I'll rotate, and then of course you have all kinds of increases to choose from. And then here we have decreases. This first one is a K2 tog. Put some knit two togethers in. The next one is the mirror of that, SSK. Put some slip slip knits in there. You see here, I've already made this amazing chart with hardly any work. This all came together very quickly. If I keep rotating through here, I have elongated stitches, passover stitches, brioche, texture, cables, and color work. And color work is part of the All Genius tier of the software, and it allows you to make a color chart. Let's go back to cables though. You see we have a whole bunch of choices in cables, and if you scroll up there are even more. And they're pretty standard for the way that we're used to seeing cables. We have here a right-leaning 1/1 cable. This is a left-leaning 1/1 cable. And then we get into cables with purls in them because it's grayed out. And if these are a ton of options, but not all cables are 1/1, right? Well, of course, because this is brought to you from the people who make knitCompanion, you can customize that. So we're going to tap this, and this window pops up here, and I'm going to change my cables to 2/2. You can put any number in there you want, of course. It can be 3/1 or 1/3 or 8/9, whatever. I'm making mine 2/2. And now that that's highlighted, I can tap them into my nonsense chart, right? And I'm going to go ahead and put in some mirror images of that cable. I'll quickly customize this to 2/2. And put them into my chart. Now, one thing to keep in mind when you're using PatternGenius is that you put stitches into PatternGenius the same way that we read charts, from right to left. So you want to tap the rightmost stitch in that combination to populate it, of course. And I didn't mention, but it's kind of obvious that because this is a 4-stitch combination, it occupies 4 boxes on the chart, right? So you want to tap the rightmost stitch in that combination. If you put it somewhere else, it'll put it too far over that way, but that's easily fixed. We have the undo arrow over here, and that takes it out, and I can put it in the right place. Okay, so I've got this chart, which would kind of be a complicated thing to put together without PatternGenius. I want to show you another thing here, this ruler. If you tap that, this is a toggle on and off switch, and it gives you access to the stitch and row numbers. Okay, now I want to do something with this chart. I'm ready to take this chart on the road, right? First thing I'll do is, up in this carousel, is go to System. And I'm going to, we'll just walk through what's in here in System to get to the thing that I want to enable. You can start a new project here, and you can also access your iCloud projects that are saved, and that's in this first screen right here. The next one is for Dropbox, because you can save things in Dropbox the same way you can for knitCompanion. iCloud seems to be a pretty easy way to do things though. In the information button, you get the version of your pattern, of your software, and shopping cart will allow you to upgrade to All Genius, but this is what I want down here, this gear. So the reason I'm in here is because of iCloud. You definitely want iCloud turned on if you're going to be wanting to share things back and forth. I mean, I just think it's a really easy thing to do. So I have iCloud turned on, and this button, Show Stitch Name, this is, remember when we tap the stitches and the black box pops up with the abbreviation? You can turn that off here. I like it though, I wouldn't turn it off. Okay, now I'm going to settings because this is where we're actually going to start to do stuff with the chart that I just made. And on the first page, we have our project information, and we have this big box where we can add notes. And I think that this is probably where you might want to add things like yarn weight and sizes or whatever. I think that's where you can make your pattern have a little bit more information by using these notes. And they can be private design notes that you're just keeping to yourself, but if you tap this to add the notes to PDF, then it actually becomes part of your pattern, which I can see a lot of uses for this notes section. And now I'm going to jump down here to the share button because this is where things really get interesting. Okay, I can add my chart. It'll be a chart and the key. It's going to create both of those for me. I can add that to my camera roll, which is likely what I'm going to be doing because I want to be able to put those images into my document on Google Drive, right? And I can make it an HR image if I have AllGenius. This is part of the advanced tier. I can also create a PDF pattern and just make my pattern straight from AllGenius. Now this next toggle button right here, this is the thing, this is part of AllGenius, and this is the feature that I want to show you. So I'm stepping out of the basic features and doing this one because this is the one I love and this is the one I'm going to marry. I'm going to turn this on to generate the written instructions for my pattern from the chart I just made. This is unbelievable. I love this so much. Okay, so now I'm going to tap Create PDF Pattern. And whoops, you know what I didn't show you? There's one thing I didn't show you. Let me go back to settings because I want to go to camera. And in this one, I have the option of selecting an image for my pattern from the camera roll, selecting an image for my pattern by taking a photo, or use default. And I just wanted to point out that I have used default here because it's the PatternGenius logo. I haven't added another picture because I'm not taking you into my camera roll because that is just dog pictures. So back to where I was here. I'm going to generate written instructions and create PDF pattern. This is where I left you a minute ago. The first page of my pattern is my photo, which is the PatternGenius logo. The second is the chart itself. The third is the key. Now let's take a look at this key because this is so great. The first column is the symbol. The next column is the right side, how the stitches worked on the right side of the work. And the next column is how the stitches worked on the wrong side of the work. Now I had the option of making this chart in the round, and if this was knit in the round, I wouldn't have instructions for wrong side. But because this is knit flat, there's a right side and a wrong side, the key is automatically generated for both of those. Now here is the thing I'm kind of excited about, the written instructions. The chart that I made is now in row by row instructions. This is so great. This is making me rethink the way that I design patterns because row by row instructions are a way to have a typo or mess. I mean, it's a lot of work, first of all, but it's also the easiest way to mess up your pattern, right? Because you can have a typo in here. But if you have this chart that you've made there are no typos in here, right? And so the written instructions aren't going to have a typo either. I'm thinking about how I can maybe take patterns that I would not have normally charted and put it into a chart so that I can use this feature of the subscription tier of the software. That makes it totally worthwhile for me. Not to mention that the subscription level is huge. There's a ton of stuff, but I'm especially in love with this one. But also, if you are a designer, offering your knitters, people who are knitting your pattern, both written and charted instructions is such a nice thing to do for them. Your pattern is going to be much more well received because there are people who absolutely love using charts, and there are people who absolutely love using written instructions and don't want anything to do with charts. Believe me, I hear from all of them. So that is my, that's my PDF pattern. And if we go back to here, and I was talking about using Google Drive, I can also just add it to my camera roll and then pop those images, what we saw, the chart and the key, into my document on Google Drive. And that's it. I hope that helps you understand PatternGenius. And let us know what you think. You know, I don't do a lot of videos on VeryPink knits for designers, but I'm interested to know what you think. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the app. Good luck.